Hello and welcome back to Crypto Saving Expert, where we discuss the latest cryptocurrency news and take a look at the overall market so that you stay informed in the world of Web3. Today, I am joined by a very special guest, Robbie, the founder of Umoja. Thank you for joining the show today. Say hello to everyone tuning in right now. Brilliant to have you on board.
Excellent. No. One, I appreciate the time and just inviting me to your great show nowadays, and also your community as well. Really looking forward to the conversation.
Awesome, Robbie. And as always, guys, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And if you have any questions for Robbie or any altcoin suggestions as we're going through, please drop them in the chat and we'll go through those questions and altcoin suggestions as well. Today, before we get into the world of Umoja, we'll go through the markets, go through some cryptocurrency news, allow for a few more people to join. And then we'll go through asking Robbie all the questions about Umoja. We've got Alex saying evening all. Good to see you, Alex. Thanks for joining today. We've got RBN as well saying good evening. Awesome to have you guys. Let's go through the markets first, Robbie, shall we? Let's have a look what Bitcoin's up to. It's been another down day. We've got Bitcoin below 62,000, Ethereum back down below 3,000 again. Some of the losers, we've got Toncoin, almost 9% for today. Rune there, 7% down as well. Let's take a look at the top gainers. Top 100. Here we go. So we've got Loopring, Neutrino, stable coins. Hardly any gainers here, Robbie. Let's have a look at the losers. Toncoin, Phantom, Stacks. Any of these coins that you've got an eye on yourself or perhaps hold, Robbie?
None in particular. I mean, I've taken a pretty conservative approach with regards to the market for a couple of years now. So I'm pretty ETH and BTC'd out. I do think that we will start to see a resurgence, but of course, as you know, all things follow BTC, and BTC's been rather dodgy. But I think that's because the market is suppressed. I mean, obviously, we just had the Bitcoin ETF in January. We really haven't seen the actual impact of inflows into that ETF. Right. And the main reason, for those who are unfamiliar, with how this typically works is that even though, the asset managers that manage these things like BlackRock do have an obligation to buy Bitcoin based off of the inflows of orders to the ETF, when they do that is kind of their decision. So they haven't yet done it in a way in which the market can look at their documentation and actually see, oh, wow, this much Bitcoin has been purchased. But, those order flows on chain will occur. And I think when that does occur, and it has to occur this year, we'll start to see a lot of these other tokens go back up.
I totally agree. Bitcoin dominance has been, taking center stage for a long time now. I was myself expecting, ETH to perhaps pop its head up a little bit more than it has recently. But like you say, I think it's just, it's going to be a delayed response there. We're going to have Bitcoin trudging along, everything else following, and then perhaps come winter, we'll see a little bit more ETH dominance come through and altcoins come out to play. Let's have a look at our newsletter today, which went out. And guys, if you're not subscribed to this, it is a free crypto newsletter. It goes out every Tuesday at 11 o'clock. Some really good analysis here, guys. The Bitcoin outlook here. So Bitcoin remains at support within its 2-month long trading range. Bitcoin has spent 75 days within this range, with it potentially extending to 3 months if it closes May inside it. It would be favorable to Bitcoin if it were to push up from here towards the range high, giving a strong reaction to testing support again and giving some breathing room. However, the 52,000 level remains a possibility while Bitcoin is struggling to gain upside momentum, with a break of support potentially resulting in another leg down. Yeah, as we can see from the chart here, 52K is, if we do break down, is the likely support there. We've been in this range for 75 days. I'd like to know what the traders are doing in the comments here. Let me know what's your opinion on Bitcoin. Will it break lower and go as low as 52K? Is 52K the support? Will you be buying there? Let me know, guys. Let's head over to Ethereum here as well. We've got some points on Ethereum. So Ethereum is also at support within its demand zone. The price is in the lower of two ranges, with 3,300 as the first upside target should ETH gain momentum. While Ethereum's weakness against Bitcoin continues, it is being dragged along for the ride in whichever direction Bitcoin takes. If Bitcoin drops lower, the 2,600 level could be the place ETH trades towards. Robbie, if we see ETH go as low as 2,600, can we expect to see other altcoins similar layer one such as Solana, Polkadot have a similar retracement as well?
Yes, I would expect so. I mean, I really chalk up. It's actually pretty interesting. Like I chalk up the entire cryptocurrency life cycle in terms of the markets as being very derivative off of Bitcoin's success. I think that this will change as we start to see like an ETH ETF, come about, because then you'll start to have other cryptocurrencies that have more info leverage in contrast to Bitcoin. But as you know, Bitcoin goes up, gets too expensive, people reinvest into ETH or reinvest into other altcoins. Those begin to resurge. And then, of course, more broadly, start to see more token sales, listings, fundraising, right? And the whole market follows. Yeah.
No, awesome summary there, Robbie. Thank you. Let's head over to some news today. Guys, if you have any altcoin suggestions, drop them in the chat and we'll have a quick flip through those as well. But let's head over to the first news story of today, which is around GameStop. So GME surges 100% pre-market towards all-time high. Have you been keeping an eye on this, Robbie? Obviously, was it in 2021, the big short squeeze back then as well? It's popped its head up. It's all I've been seeing on Twitter, man. Yeah. Have you been following it, and have you been supporting it yourself?
Yeah, I support this a lot. I mean, I think that one of the takeaways from when the whole GME push initially started is that social sentiment, retail social sentiment, is able to control corporate value more than it ever has in any point in history.
Yeah.
And obviously, us being crypto native, we know that to be true because that's the reality that we live in terms of protocols and networks. But I think that this trend will continue, and GME kind of resurging, especially during this time, is just a fact of that. I think it's the beginning of much to come. And as a tidbit for everyone, I mean, currently retail investors control 52% of all assets under management.
Yeah.
And this is increasing steadily into 2030. So what that means is that as retail capital has a higher proportion of overall capital in the world, we're going to have more influence on global markets, both TradFi and obviously we already have a lot of influence over crypto. And this means that social sentiments and community effectively collusion around particular assets, whether it be a protocol's cryptocurrency or there be a stock, will become a lot more oftentimes sought.
Mm-hmm. And we've got a question in the chat here from DS. Do you think this can explode alt season with all this kind of meme hype and community hype around GME? Do you think this will trail off into meme coins as well?
I do, but I always caution against meme coins because meme coins are having a time like NFTs had in 2019, right? 2020. Yeah. Exactly. And so we always have to be cautious that there will be a very select few blue chip meme coins, and we've already seen, like, obviously Dogecoin, that's from a long time ago. Pepe seems to be the newest blue chip in the meme coin era. And even that one's a little bit older. There may be 2 or 3 more, right, that we consider blue chips that continue and persist and are supported by the world's largest exchanges, et cetera. I know Coinbase recently supported Pepe futures, for example. But the vast majority of meme coins will lose 99.9% of value, just like we saw with NFTs. And so and that, again, that's not me being FUD. Meme coin on, right? I don't want to be the old man in the room. But I do want us to learn from, previous patterns that we've seen, with narrative-based investing. Yeah.
While we're talking about NFTs, the next story I was actually going to get into is regarding pudgy penguins. Like Robbie said, NFTs had the largest hype in 2021. Almost every NFT you could purchase, as long as there was a decent team behind it, seemed to absolutely soar. And they've been struggling, especially over the last bear market, and even coming into 2024. There's not been too much growth with NFTs. However, you see pudgy penguins, and they've been absolutely smashing it, not only in the crypto world, but as we can see here, they've sold over 1 million cuddly toys, according to their CEO, Luca. We can scroll down a little bit further. So, he said over 1 million toys sold in the last 12 months as Pudgy Penguins continues its expansion in retailers all over the world. Who could have foreseen that chubby, flightless birds would spearhead the consumer crypto revolution, he stated on his post. So yeah, the achievement follows the 12th of May announcement that Pudgy toys have landed on the shelves of the retail giant Target in the United States. Crazy. What a crossover, man. And you're currently in the States, I believe.
Yes.
And
yes.
will you be going down to Target and finding a Pudgy Penguin for yourself?
Hey, man, the funny thing is that a lot of us laugh when things like this happen, but then 2-3 years later, man, Pudgy Penguin's worth like $10,000. Like
Yeah.
it's sometimes it's the novelty of things occurring that makes it historic. And so I might, man, I might, I might just do it, because I will say the last time I felt like this, CryptoPunks was out, and I didn't do that, and I'm very regretful of not participating in that. So yeah,
It's crazy. Like it says here, over the past 30 days, the collection has generated over 14,000 ETH in trading volume, with the floor price trading in a range between 11 and 13 ETH. Despite the bullish recent news, the collection is trading lower than earlier in the year when the floor price was at an all-time high of over 20 ETH. But it is relative dollar value. That will be more now. That could have been when Ethereum was $1,000 to $2,000. So dollar value, they're up. ETH value, yes, they are down. But it's good to see. I've seen some interviews with Luca, and he seems a nice guy, and what the NFT world needs right now. Robbie, have you got any NFT projects that you've got your eye on, or you're part of the community?
So I am a part of a few. So I'm part of the X community. So the Murakami kind of NFT crew. We're not doing too well. We haven't been doing too well for long, but we look cool, and that's sometimes the CloneX. Hey man, CloneX's, we look cool, but we're not doing well. So it's kind of like the guy that has no money, but he has a really nice car. Otherwise, man, not too much. I am hoping that like a lot of these like pre-existing, like the blue chip communities in particular, like I think they need to find more ways to facilitate in real life events. I know that the Ape Yacht Club has been doing a pretty good job at that, but like that and like commercial partnerships, so that your NFT ownership, like I would love if my NFT ownership of a CloneX got me like, I don't know, a discount on Nikes for a year, right? Because I know that that particular Labs co was bought by Nike. Like that would be cool as hell. I think if they do things like that, then they can actually see a resurgence in value. But if they just try to keep things to Telegram and Discord, and people don't really see the value of having this thing that was once like hella money, people tend to just go somewhere else.
Yeah, I think we've seen a lot of NFT projects go down the kind of the airdrop route now, rather than perhaps before it was more about community and everything. But let's head over to the next news story of today before we head into Umoja. So Bitcoin Runes activity drops over 99% from April high. So in the previous live streams from last month, we were talking about runes, day in, day out. A lot of BRC20 talk, and it does seem to have, quietened off slightly. So let's have a quick look here. So Bitcoin runes are a novel token standard that debuted at the 4th Bitcoin halving block on the 20th of April. The protocol allows users to inscribe their favorite artwork, images, audio, and videos into the Bitcoin network. So the miners' revenue is dropping. Following the Bitcoin halving on the 20th of April, activity involving runes increased, hitting a daily average of 14,700 new runes between the 26th and the 30th of April, and reaching an all-time high of 23,061 on the 26th of April. So the initial boom is action brought a significant uptick in revenue for Bitcoin miners. However, the most recent decline reducing the amount of runes etched daily by over 99% has seen the income drop substantially. Do you think this was a fad? Do you think, runes will make a resurgence, or is it just because, the hype towards the end of April was just incredible? It was just, through the roof. Nothing can sustain that.
I do think so. I mean, the great thing about runes is that they can enable any type of fungible value, right? Rather than just meme coins. And so I do think that runes will continue to have its moment, particularly because they're at the very start of BitVM, right? The whole Bitcoin virtual machine narrative. And that narrative has been outshined by a focus on AI, a focus on meme coins. And so really, it's not even in theme yet, right? The next cycle, which may be later Q3, or maybe in 2025, like BitVM will have its in cycle, right, theme.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where it's going to see a lot of resurgence. Now, obviously with ordinals and Rune, the issue's always been fees, right? It's super, super, super expensive. And that's something that they're going to overcome. So I do see them likely redeploying on one of the popular L2s that are on Bitcoin, like Merlin, BitLayer, CoreDAO, et cetera, or CoreDAO is more of a sidechain. But I do think it'll happen. And, very interestingly, you mentioned it in your comment, right? Overlying transaction volume in BitVM is extremely important to Bitcoin, particularly after this post-halving, right? For those who don't know, Bitcoin miners have never made money off of the amount of Bitcoin rewards that they've gotten. They've always made revenue based off of the increase in value of Bitcoin itself, right? So Bitcoin shooting up in value has subsidized the rewards that they get. But increasingly, as the rewards become smaller and smaller and smaller, they have to make money somehow, right?
Yeah.
And overlying transaction fees is going to be that way. So interestingly enough, things like meme coins on Rune, are actually important for Bitcoin right now. Now, hopefully, we start to get some substance in terms of the use cases beyond that. But I do think that it'll have a resurgence if it, is nimble enough to redeploy in L2s.
Awesome, Robbie. Yeah, great analysis there. Great answer. Now let's head over to Umoja and Robbie. First off, now everyone's in the chat. Everyone's viewing right now. We've got more people. If you could tell us a little bit more about your journey and your background as well, even before Web3. If you could elaborate so everyone can understand your journey into Web3 a little bit better, that would be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got into crypto 2011, 2012. I was introduced by Kennard. So shout out to Kennard. Got to shout him out. Got to shout out whoever was your shepherd, right?
Yeah.
Into the space. And he was building a Bitcoin exchange called Bitbox at the time when I was in college at University of Michigan. And at first I didn't get it, man. At first I was like, stupid Bitcoin. Why is Bitcoin just making sense? We got gold, why we got this? And then eventually I got it, as many of us do. And obviously at the time, there was no building on blockchain, right? There was just Bitcoin. And then there was a few altcoins like Namecoin, LTC, a few others. There was probably about 50 cryptocurrencies at the time. And so markets were a lot easier to, predict. I created a hedge fund across multiple varsity athletes at the University of Michigan, some people on the soccer team, some people on the track team. This is between 2012 to 2014.
Wow. OG.
Yeah. No, I mean, we're all OG, man. 50 years from now, we're all OG. It's all relative. And Web3, there you go. Hey, yeah, shout out your shepherd. You gotta shout out
Felix, good friend of mine.
And so fast track. I kicked off my career at Goldman Sachs. Crypto and blockchain was still a huge passion of mine, just personally.
Yeah.
And so I mined. Obviously, I had the hedge fund. Built cool applications, or at least what I thought was cool. And then eventually went full time at Consensus as their head of social impact, and stayed there for about three to 4 years before spinning out Consensus Social Impact as Umoja today. So that's
awesome.
my quick crypto story.
And we've got to ask about Umoja as well. What caused you to see the opportunity, see the gap in the market, and ultimately found Umoja?
Say that one more time.
So what was it that led you to see the gap in the market and see the opportunity to forge and found Umoja?
Yeah, so there were a few. So interestingly enough, Umoja did not start how it is today. Umoja started as a humanitarian aid product suite. So one of the really cool things one of the things I'm most proud of that I did at Consensus is we deployed the world's first international humanitarian aid program using stable coins. We used DAI.
Wow.
And we did it in incredibly remote and low technical literacy context. So we created digital
Amazing.
wallets that people could have on NFC cards. They didn't need to know anything about blockchain. They received their DAI. They could facilitate transactions via tap to pay with Android devices. And we tracked effectively the facilitation of that aid through all the different vendors in a island state called Vanuatu, which is in the Pacific Islands. So effectively, Umoja initially productized that idea. And so we created an entire humanitarian aid suite of blockchain products, mass payout, dashboard, on and off ramps for emerging market currencies, and then also wallets that could operate on feature phones or NFC cards. And then, began to pivot when we realized the sales cycles are very slow. Even though it was great work, working with NGOs is super, super slow. So it's not the most sustainable business over the long term. But what we did find is that a lot of our existing customers dealt with FX issues. So, when I have US dollars and you have another currency, right, and we're switching currencies, those currencies are changing value relative to each other. And one of us may be losing money as we continue to do this, right?
Western Union
And a
take
lot of
10%.
Yes, yes, exactly. And so a lot of international businesses that process billions of dollars, in transactions, they have huge problems. That cost adds up. And so Umoja as a protocol was initially to enable people to hedge their losses, right? We were doing with fiat, we were doing with crypto, so that if you're in a bear market, which we were born in, right, you don't lose money, right? What we found is that we could actually make that an asset management strategy and make a whole bunch of different other strategies that people could use directly or create new assets from. And this is where the idea of smart coins came into play. Like all of us, regardless of how much time we have, we usually can't do everything, right? We can't be a pro trader and be great at our job, and have a 401k. Like it's very hard to balance all of these things. And so what we wanted to do was, instead of having somebody need to use an asset management strategy at all or put money into a vault, like just make their money automate itself. Like just make their money do all of the trading for them. Protect against risk when things are going down, optimize yields when things are going up. And so that's what we are now, is a smart coin protocol that focuses on automating money, focuses on taking these automated strategies and embedding them within the tokens themselves. And so that's why we always call ourselves anti-meme coin, right? It's the opposite of a meme coin. Not to put shade on meme coins, but it's something that, you can put your money in, protect it, and also, make a respectable yield as well.
Amazing. And I've dealt with your team. You've got a very impressive team, that were putting in the work throughout the bear market, like you said. And what was it like raising 4 million in a bear market where most projects were struggling to get any funds in? How did you go about that, and what was your strategy there going through the bear market?
Yeah, no, we were struggling too. Everyone was struggling. Though I will say one thing that we learned is that you have to have utility. And I'm not talking about token utility, although that is also important. Your protocol has to solve an actual problem, right? Our protocol solved the problem of people losing money in crypto, right? We hedge your losses. We were one of the only protocols that allowed you to do that very quickly. Now, obviously, we have a more grandiose vision of, democratizing wealth creating tools, for the first time in human history for everyone. But that's where we started. And so that was very, very helpful. And I also think just persistence, man, regardless of my professional background and that of my team, I can't tell you how many no's I've gotten. I've gotten hundreds of no's, I'm sure. And it's debilitating, but you just have to tell yourself, I believe in what I'm making. I've seen people have actually see value in this. Just keep going, and it becomes a numbers game. So for anyone who's thinking about starting things or is in a rut, just keep moving, keep talking to users, keep talking to investors. And one thing that I always do is when I talk to investors that say no, I ask them why.
Yeah.
You can turn a loss into a win, right? Or I ask them, hey, are there any other investors that that you would think would say yes? Or try to turn them into a customer, right? Do you need to hedge? Do you have a crypto portfolio? Do you need to hedge your losses or whatever? So that's effectively how we did it. It was just a lot of persistence. And then eventually the bull run shows itself and you're like, oh, thank the Lord Jesus. We are saved. And, things are a lot easier.
I think a lot of us in the industry were, waiting for that light at the end of the tunnel, and glad it came. And but from the bear market, you could really see who are the people sticking it out, really putting in the hard work. And to me, the people that were putting in the hard work during the bear market are due, all of the success now that the market's turned. My next question, Robbie, would be: how important is Umoja in the current state of the market? Was it slightly lagged there? Is it come back?
Say that one more time. You came
No
in.
worries. So how important is Umoja in the current state of the market? Is it lagging out a little bit here? Can you hear me okay?
That's a very good question. Selfishly, I would say very important, but I might even yeah. Selfishly, I would say very important, but I would even go on to say, like, to reframe the question. Money automating itself is inevitable, right?
Yeah.
We're starting to see a lot of things happen at the same time. We're starting to see AI just move at a pace that we couldn't even imagine. And at the same time, we've been seeing with blockchain technology the ability to move money with code for the first time in human history in a verifiable way, in a secure way. Those two things are going to merge, right?
Yeah.
Just absolutely going to merge. There will become a time, and hopefully we're a part of this history, where just by holding digital assets, you are invested across multiple things. And it's not just having to be able to access a stock account, right, that enables you that access. And so, I think people being able to do that is substantially important. And this is where the need comes in, because it's impossible to scale financial literacy, literally impossible, right? There are not enough resources in the world for all of us to become pro traders, nor do we, even if we had the resources, many of us might not have the time. We all have jobs. We're all everyone's trying to survive. And, maybe I'm only speaking for myself, but I would imagine many people looking at this live stream have probably had a harder time living than any other moment in their life previous, right? Inflation is up, cost of living is up. There's a lot of wars happening, especially in the context of the US, which a lot of Americans don't like. We don't like seeing the US get involved in everything and spend all this money and see increased homelessness here, right? That sucks. And so it gets to a point where it's like, okay, how can I work my way out of this when I don't have the time enough to make money and learn new skills, or at least not learn them to the extent that I would like, and all these other things are happening at the same time, and you need help. And so we're trying to provide a tool that gives you help, but also is simple to understand.
Amazing. And Robbie, how does Umoja differ from other protocols right now?
So the main differentiation is ease of use and composability, and I would say flexibility. So those three things: ease of use, composability, flexibility. Ease of use. The vast majority of retail investors do not use dApps, right? Because the UX, the user experience, is just too difficult. But we do know that the vast majority of retail investors, at least in crypto, do hold cryptocurrencies. That is what makes them a retail investor. Yeah. And so leaning in to the lowest common denominator use case of just holding something is something that we greatly believe in, right? All you need to do to access the benefits of a smart coin is to hold it. That is it. If you don't want it, then you swap it, just like any cryptocurrency, but you get this benefit of principal protection and optimized yields that before, with protocols like Yearn Finance, D-Hedge, et cetera, you would have to lock your money into a vault, right, to access. Now you don't need to do anything but just swap. And then I would say flexibility in that a lot of protocols that do provide, great products like, USDE, Athena, or other, or STETH, Lido, right? These protocols are tied to a single asset, right? So if the market changes, the viability in the value proposition of their product starts to weaken. So for example, if you're in a bear market, USDE and STE aren't great investments, right? USDE doesn't protect your principal, and STE, the APY goes down, and then you might as well just have normal ETH at that point. And so we're able to create a variety of smart assets that can sustain themselves in different market conditions rather than just, do well when things are going well, right?
Yeah. Great summary there, Robbie. I think what we'll do now is we will show everyone watching how to use the platform. So if you'd like to present your screen and show how the users, the viewers here can use Umoja, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one great, and I might, would this be the good time to share the screen? Is this the share the screen moment?
Let's go for it. Let's go for it. Let's show the people.
Let's see. Excellent. Let's do it. Hopefully I don't mess up. Hopefully I don't see something that's not
the beauty of live
shows. So I'm gonna go to Umoja.xyz. And so, I mean, the best way and actually become airdrop eligible doing this is to use our beta. Our beta, super simple. It allows you to bet on the price of ETH, BTC, whether it's going up or going down. That's called an option. But the secret, right, the big thing, right, about these two automated strategies, these synths, is that it allows you to do it with 10x leverage and zero liquidation risk. Which you don't come by in crypto very often. And so these are two fundamental strategies that we'll be using to create smart coins in the future. So we're going to head on over. I'm going to share this tab. Let's see how quick my computer is. Super slow. Hey, there we go. It shows. All right, excellent. And apologies, guys, for like the very, very slow loading. My internet is just awful. But here you'll see the DApp. If you don't know how to use anything, we have videos for everything, including an integration with Intercom. If you need any support or just don't understand, education is a huge thing, and we try to put it in the front end of the the interface as much as possible. But you'll just go to synth. Again, a synth is just an asset management strategy. The two synths that we have: synthetic put option, which is betting when prices go down, and synthetic call option, betting when prices go up. So if you think the prices are going to go up, you want a call option. If you think the opposite, you want a put option, for those who are not familiar. And effectively, you just do it here. I mean, literally, you select a token. So let's see if my internet is not allowing the tokens to show up. There we go. Awesome. So we'll select BTC, select 10. And then let's say, so again, we're doing a put. So we think that, Bitcoin's going to go down. I personally think it's going to go up, but for the sake of example, we'll just say, it's going to go down. And I want my bet to expire on the 31st. So basically, I want to protect 10 Bitcoin up until the 31st of May. This is perfect if you have a lot of Bitcoin or ETH and you want to protect it from losses, right? And then you put a price, right? And I'm going to put a price of $60,000. So the way that you would read this, I want to protect 10 Bitcoin up until the 31st of May, as soon as Bitcoin hits $60,000 or below. And that's it. That's pretty much it. Then you'll submit it, and then what you'll next be taken to is the dashboard. So that's a very, very quick thing. Literally takes 10 seconds to do, and you become airdrop eligible in doing so.
Amazing. Thank you for showing us, Robbie. And I've also got to say the platform, the UX there looks amazing. I played around with the platform earlier today, and I've got to say, the platform's looking, really, really slick. They're really smart. Is there anything that you can announce, any alpha for the viewers right now? Anything exciting for Umoja coming up in the short term?
Yes. So there are a few exciting things. The first is that We have a community private sale tomorrow and on Thursday with paid. So that'll be great. Gets you exposure, to the token early before it's out. Also, the first smart coin launch will be toward the end of this month, early June. So yield-bearing Bitcoin, a token that protects your Bitcoin from losses and also earns you Bitcoin, will be launched on both Merlin chain, which is on Bitcoin, and also Arbitrum as well. And there will be a new asset management strategy called a yield synth. All that means is you put your money in one place and it generates yield for you automatically, and you do not lose money in that. So it's also principal protected as well. So all of these updates we'll be putting on our socials, and obviously there'll be a whole bunch of education as well.
Awesome. And guys, if you're looking to follow Umoja on Twitter, it's at Umoja Protocol. You can see in the little banner going down there as well. Go check out their Twitter. Go give them a follow. Go give Robbie a follow as well. That's RobTG4. Also, guys, check out umoja.xyz. The link is in the description. Robbie, thank you so much for coming on today. I look forward to inviting you on perhaps in a month or so time once these announcements have come out, and we can invite you back to the show and go through those as well, guys. If you're listening in, I please would say go check out the platform, go give them a follow, because guys, it's not one to miss. Robbie, thank you so much for coming on today.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me, and looking forward to continue the discussion offline, and hopefully I'll be back soon.
Awesome. Take care, guys. Have a brilliant day, and I will see you tomorrow. Woo!